It was the summer of 2024 is when I finished my third year of university, and I was looking for a summer job. I didn't really have much connections around and didn't know too many people who could put me on a job, so I had to go and apply jobs on my own. So I went on Indeed and Glassdoor and just spammed applied a bunch of jobs on the website. I mean, I don't even remember how many jobs I even applied to. But eventually I would get an email back, and it was for this floor deck position at a boat cruise at Empress of Canada at Harbourfront near Union Station. I remember when I read that email being so happy and excited. I mean, not only that I get an interview to have a job, but it's I finally get a chance to work at a club in a boat cruise nonetheless. I mean, the idea of working at the club just sounded like amazing. I always liked the idea of working at a club, as my peers around me made the club seem like it was a very nice and fun, lovely place to be in. As I replied to the email and I arrived at the interview went very well, and I ended up getting hired. I was told to come the next following Monday, and when the next following Monday came, I came by. It was just an orientation within the crew members, the managers, and the captain of the boat, just so everyone can mingle with one another. At first, it was a little awkward, but as time went by, we got pretty comfortable with one another. I mean, matter of fact, we got very comfortable with one another. I mean, I really did like everyone, from co-workers to manager to the captain of the boat. I really did enjoy their company. They honestly made the job better than what it really was in the first place. And we spent the first 2 weeks of the season cleaning the boat, because the boat hasn't been touched in like a couple of months, so it was very dirty. And it's only after cleaning is when the parties and the clubs can start being hosted. Fast forward the first 2 weeks of the season, and the first party is finally about to be hosted. I remember arriving at my first real shift, being very excited, antsy to see how it would play out. I can finally see what the vibes of being in a club is like. It was around 8 when the boat crew started docking and letting people in. And I remember seeing many of the women walk into the boat entrance one by one. And I remember thinking to myself that, God damn, these were some gorgeous women. I mean, these women were beautiful. I mean, these were definitely not women you see in your day-to-day life. They were wear very revealing clothes, dressed very promiscuous, and even some of them would just walk in wearing like a bra and shorts. I mean, if I could even consider those shorts. Seeing the pretty ladies walk in just made me even more excited to see how the day was going to go by. As eventually, once everyone got on, the boat started sailing off. The DJ started playing music. People started getting drunk. The guys started jumping around. The women started dancing and shaking ass. The lights were off. The vibes were nice. The view of the boat looked very nice. People were laughing. It was such good vibes. How everything was playing out went beyond my expectations of the club. I mean, even though I wasn't drunk, even though I wasn't partying like the rest and I was working, just listening to the good music in the background, being on the boat itself, seeing the women do their thing was entertaining enough for me to get through the shift with a smile on my face. And then, sooner than I know it, my first shift was done. The boat returns back to dock. Everybody leaves. Me and the crew clean the whole boat, and we all eventually just left home. I mean, once my first real shift was done, I remember thinking to myself, oh my god, like, that was awesome. Like, I had so much fun. Like, I can do this 1,000 times over and over. I can do this all day, matter of fact. I worked about 2 to 3 times during that week, and I worked many more shifts throughout the whole summer. As time went on, I would start noticing people vomit a lot, and I had to clean it. At first, I found it very disgusting, but as time went on, cleaning the vomit wasn't as bad no more. I would even start noticing fights occurring. And at first, when I would witness these fights, I would feel very concerned, worried about the situation, stressed about other people's safety. But as more fights occurred and as time went on, they wouldn't really bother me no more. Honestly, if a fight broke down, it was just mere entertainment for me. It was honestly to the point where I would even pull out my phone and record, or just giggle and laugh while being arm's length away from the fight going on. It was like my concern for the victim just vanished away for some reason. It went from concerning to entertaining. I would even witness people hooking up randomly. And at first I found it very nasty, very disgusting, very soulless, very shallow, very artificial. But as time went on, it just became very normal. I mean, I just seen it as something that was fun. It was just something people did for fun. It wasn't that serious, no strings attached, no big deal, right? I would also start noticing many people within the club snorting cocaine in the washrooms. Now, when I first witnessed that, I was very shocked. I mean, weed and alcohol was one thing, but snorting cocaine was a whole nother thing. I remember I felt so disturbed and bothered watching people snort cocaine and get high off of the drug just for a night of fun. I mean, I remember asking myself, why would someone even do this to themselves, knowing how harmful the drug really is for them? As people would walk out the washrooms with their eyes wide open, pupils dilated, white powder under their nose, all energetic and jumpy. And honestly, a very good portion of the fights was by people who was off of coke. I remember feeling uneasy watching people getting high off of cocaine. But even with that, as time went on, it just became normal. It didn't bother me anymore. I honestly became very comfortable being around the drug and the people on the drug. Honestly, it became so normal that I honestly wondered what cocaine was even like. How fun is it? I was curious to know how it even felt. I mean, I went from thinking that cocaine was a drug that was horrible and I should stay away from it at all costs to contemplating in my own head that maybe one day I should try it myself. I mean, everyone else off coke seems fine. They get high, party, come back next weekend, do the same shit again. They just seem like normal people going on with their normal lives. I mean, cocaine just didn't really seem too serious or out of reach no more. Cocaine was just not even a big deal. I remember I just seen it as a drug that people just do it recreationally, just like weed and alcohol, like they were on the same level. Overall, my perception of degeneracy, substance abuse, fights, and everything in between it was just being very skewed. I mean, the way I looked at these things before working and during working was such a drastic change. And as since my attitude towards those behaviors was becoming very lenient, I was naturally becoming a lot more inclined to those behaviors myself. I mean, I really didn't see anything wrong with them until one specific night. It was just like any other normal shift of just people fighting, doing hardcore drugs, degeneracy, cleaning vomit, listening to music, wasting time, and so on. When suddenly, out of nowhere, I just heard a bunch of people screaming and yelling from the upper floor of the boat and rushing down to the downstairs of where I was. I remember confused as to what was going on and happening. I figured that a fight must have been happening. I had a slight smirk on my face, actually, as I started heading towards the staircase, eagerly anticipating the fight that I'm about to witness and be entertained from. As just before I even reached the staircase, I see this man completely bloody from head to toe just rush down the staircase and slump on one of the tables, as I seen a trail of blood just follow him. I remember that smirk on my face quickly got rubbed off, as when I turned to see and take a better look at the man, that's when I realized that he got stabbed with a broken piece of glass right on his face, just above his eyebrows. I mean, I thought to myself, oh shit, this is serious. Then I remember the security quickly rushing in to aid the man, covering his wounds, to stop the man from bleeding out any more than he already was. The captain being told to turn the boat around through the announcements of the speakers. I mean, typically I'm entertained by drama, but this here was really bothering me. I felt very uneasy. I was genuinely concerned for this man. I mean, honestly, I didn't even know if he was gonna make it out alive or not. My manager eventually comes up to me and tells me to move people out of the way, as the stab victim was being very crowded up and surrounded by a lot of people. As I listened and I was telling people to move out the way, and people were moving out the way one by one, as during that process I noticed some people. These people could have been drunk or high off of coke, who knows, but they were smiling, smirking, grinning, slightly laughing at the situation. I mean, what's so funny? There's nothing funny about the situation. But at that moment, that's when it really clicked with me. It was the same way I would grin and smirk when I witnessed a fight, when I witnessed degeneracy, when I witnessed people taking drugs and other out-of-pocket stuff. And it really just put it into perspective for me in that very given moment of how skewed my perception was getting, or has already got. It reminded me of how I was before the job, when I used to find fights disturbing, when I used to find drug usage disturbing, when I used to find the overall degeneracy of the club disturbing. And I really just realized how much I changed over the last couple of months. Not for the better, but for the worst. I mean, I thought to myself, is that how I look like? Is that how I look like when I grin and laugh while witnessing a fight or someone get beat up? If so, I look like a heartless monster. Just like those guys smirking at the stabbed victim, looking like a heartless monster. The boat proceeds to return back to dock. Everybody gets escorted out. The ambulance come and they take this stabbed victim. I don't know what happened to him. I can only hope for the best. Me and the team cleaned up the mess and we all went home that night. I remember on my way home, my perception of the club just going from fun and amazing to just poisonous and toxic. I just really seen how much you don't gain and how much you just lose being in this type of environment on a regular basis. Especially working there on a regular basis, which is long enough to make an impact on you and change your mindset. I worked there until the summer was done, and when I went back to school, I stopped working the job eventually. But that night really did leave an imprint on me, as whenever I'm around that type of a crowd, I typically try to stay away from them or not get too invested into what they're doing. As I now know that the club isn't this amazing, cool place as it seems to be. I mean, going to the club once in a while is fine, but being there on a regular basis, that's a big no-no. Of course, I had a lot of time to reflect over my club experience, and yes, I had fun. Yes, I enjoyed a lot of things. But overall, the way it influenced me and my mindset, I would say it's not really worth going there. At least not on a frequent basis. If you happen to be at the club on a regular basis, I'm in no mean telling you what to do with your own life. But all I really ask for you is to just take a step back and just really evaluate your surroundings and environment. Really evaluate how your common visits to the club may be affecting you, impacting you, influencing your perception. And make a very brutal, honest judgment on it. Be aware of your surroundings and environment, as these things really can just sneak up on you before you even know it. Be cautious about how your surroundings and environment may be influencing you. You should do it before it's too late. Please comment and subscribe. Please share this video with someone who you may think can benefit off of this video. Because if my video can help one person, just one person only, then the purpose of me making this video has been met. Stay blessed and peace out.